Coming up next, the 20th anniversary of Penn State's Hub Lawn shooting. We talk with the first police officer on scene when the tragedy happened.
And despite the controversy over football coach Joe Paterno's legacy, the university will mark his special anniversary tomorrow. We have reaction and more details on the events. The Center County Report starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Alex Blankman.
And I'm Jenna Kaminsky. This weekend marks 2 decades since a tragedy on Penn State's campus shook the community, made national headlines, and left 1 woman dead. The Hub Lawn shooting happened 20 years ago tomorrow. Weiss Aramesh is on campus where it all happened. Weiss?
Thanks, Jenna. We're standing in front of the spot where 20 years ago this weekend, Jillian Robbins took a rifle and fatally shot 21-year-old Melanie Spalla. Now today in the Hub, a university professor is hosting an event to commemorate the anniversary as Penn State remembers the tragedy that struck campus one September morning 2 decades ago. It's hard to imagine on an average Friday afternoon that 20 years ago, a 19-year-old woman positioned herself on Penn State's Hub lawn with a rifle and fired 5 shots that would stun the university and the nation.
You know, there's always a few incidents that every officer remembers, and that's going to be one for me. I mean, I won't forget it.
Bill Morschenbacher is now a Penn State University Park Assistant Police Chief, but 20 years ago, he was a patrol officer. On September 17, 1996, Morschenbacher was the first member of law enforcement on the scene after Jillian Robbins fired shots across the Hub lawn, killing 21-year-old Melanie Spalla. At the time, the death of a student shocked the Penn State community and shook campus to its core.
This view we seem to have of this being an idyllic place surrounded by mountains, in a quiet borough in Pennsylvania, we couldn't believe that anymore. You know, we had been that had all changed as a result of a single individual.
Morschenbacher says that Penn State police are now better prepared if something terrible were to happen.
Today, our officers are all equipped with patrol rifles. We have members on the regional SWAT team. We train specifically for these type of things.
Today, as Penn State students walk to class, many do so in remembrance of a tragedy that changed Penn State and its student body forever.
I think many of the students were questioning themselves that day and recognizing that if they hadn't stopped for coffee at an earlier point, if they had gotten up at 8 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock that morning and walked across that Hub lawn, that they too could have been victimized.
The event inside the Hub is called Talking About Guns. A Penn State professor invites anybody who wants to discuss about the shooting or about guns on campus in general, a subject that has certainly become a lot more prevalent today than it was 20 years ago. Reporting from the Hub lawn in University Park, Weiss Aramesh, the Center County Report.
Thanks, Weiss. A new report from the state shows Pennsylvania is seeing a huge increase in reports of child abuse cases. Prosecutors have seen a 40% jump in abuse cases. A 2014 change in the law made more adults legally responsible to report suspected cases and expand the definition of abuse. Last year, Center County alone handled more than twice as many abuse claims as the year before. The number of cases is now stretching the resources of the county DA offices. For the second time in a week, a Penn State student has died in a car crash. Our media partner, StateCollege.com, reports 22-year-old Nikolai Tereshak died in a crash Tuesday night in Wayne County in Northeast PA. He was an English major at Penn State University Park. Police say his car went off the road after missing a curve. He was the only person in the car. Another student died in an accident in State College last week.
Autopsy results are in for a 13-year-old girl found dead near a river in western Pennsylvania. Chevy McGiffin went missing last Friday after leaving her home in Clarion to go to a dollar store to buy a coloring book. Searchers found her dead Sunday near the Clarion River. The coroner says the cause of death was accidental drowning. McGiffin's mother told a TV station that she thought her daughter was kidnapped, and police are investigating how the girl ended up in the water.
State College police are looking for a middle-aged woman they say tried to use counterfeit money at the Unimart on North Atherton Street on Sunday morning. She was wearing a yellow shirt with a black headband in her hair. Police are asking anyone who may be able to identify the suspect to call them.
Heroin and opiate addiction is a growing problem nationwide, including here in Centre County. This week, the second of several town hall meetings addressed how to cope with addiction and how to find solutions. Reporter Christine O'Connor has the story.
The second in a series of town hall meetings to combat opioid addiction Tuesday was organized by the Centre County Heroin and Opiate Prevention and Education Initiative, also known as HOPE. Its mission? To eliminate substance abuse using outreach, education, and treatment.
I think we have the opportunity to really make a difference in folks not only that are here tonight, but find themselves in a situation where they need to understand what's going on. They can use this as that resource for the future.
A panel with experts in the field answered anonymous audience questions, sparking conversation and discussing steps forward. One local man in recovery reflected on his success at combating addiction.
So, quick little background. I'm from State College. I went to State High. I am an addict in recovery. This October 13th will mark my 2-year of sobriety.
After the meeting, HOPE set up informational booths outside the auditorium to help those struggling with addiction.
It's helping people move through the stages of change and wanting to change and embrace recovery and see that there is a better way. So, we provide them the hope that they can have a different lifestyle.
Reporting in State College, I'm Christine O'Connor for the Centre County Report.
The next town hall meeting is scheduled for October 11th at Bald Eagle High School.
Starting tonight, events at Penn State will mark the 50th anniversary of Joe Paterno's first game as head coach. Tonight, hundreds of former players will attend a private reunion at Medler Field. Then at tomorrow's game, members of the 1966 team will help commemorate the anniversary. The university says focus will be on Paterno's commitment to student athletes and academics. But others say with the Sandusky scandal still fresh, it's too soon to honor Paterno.
Joe Paterno began his Penn State coaching career in 1950 after playing quarterback at Brown. In 1966, he became head coach. 46 years later, his career ends with 409 wins, 24 bowl victories, and 2 national championships. A Penn State icon, but one clouded in controversy.
I stand right here outside Beaver Stadium, the house that Joe Paterno built. His statue stood right here until 2012, when it was removed amid the Jerry Sandusky scandal. Now, on the 50-year anniversary of the beginning of his coaching tenure, Penn State has chosen to honor him.
People I talked with have mixed emotions about the plan to honor Paterno before the September 17th game.
The university did not think of how this might impact the victims, and this is a case that is still being litigated, so this preempts that whole process, so it's a very poor decision.
Jerry Sandusky's arrest in 2011 on child sex abuse charges started a series of events that led to a chaotic environment for the university, Paterno's firing, and NCAA sanctions, with detractors questioning what he knew and when.
No, it's controversial. He might have known, but we honestly don't know for sure. But as a Penn State fan and growing up loving Penn State football, I think it's fine that we get to honor him. I think he deserves to be honored.
Well, I think it's kind of sending awkward mixed messages because on the one hand, I mean, the Joe Paterno statue's gone. Who knows where it is? And on the other hand, now they're trying to honor him. I just think that the message isn't clear, and I think that they should probably get on the same page.
Penn State plans to commemorate Paterno's legacy, focusing on his commitment to student athletes and academics, and by bringing in the captains from the 1966 team. And his family has been relatively quiet. But Scott Paterno did respond to a negative tweet about his father looking the other way, saying, "Never mind the fact that he reported properly the only allegation ever brought to him. Ask the Office of the Attorney General." There are strong opinions on both sides of the issue and what Paterno's legacy will ultimately be.
I do know that he made a significantly positive influence on our educational mission. I think that he has a great tradition, and by doing this, it diffuses it, it dilutes it, it undermines it.
Paterno's wife, Sue, said while she's pleased that Penn State will mark the anniversary, the family told the university it wanted the focus of the event to be on the players.
Will the rain hold off long enough tomorrow so fans won't get wet at the game?
We'll take a look at this weekend's weather forecast coming up. And today, National Working Parents Day. We had the opportunity to sit down with a working mom who attends Penn State Altoona. Stay tuned to hear a touching story and how she balances a job, school, and motherhood.
Did you know today is National Working Parents Day? If you're one of them, you're not alone. 34.4 million moms and dads are working full or part-time, but for some, that's only part of their workload. They also have a full load of college classes along with their job, including Angie Spagnoli, who's a full-time student at Penn State Altoona. She's a single mom who shares her reason for being a working parent.
He was the size of a Snickers bar. He was tiny. He didn't have fingernails or eyelashes. His eyes were still fused shut. He was so small, I couldn't believe that something that little was alive.
These are little turtles, and this is a little crab.
I mean, to be born at 1.5 pounds.
Pirate costume, and this is a shark, and this is a turtle.
And
look at
to have gone through 13 eye surgeries, lung surgery, bilateral hernias, the things that a grown person maybe couldn't go through. I don't know where he gets the strength that he has. It's unbelievable to me, but he's an inspiration to me. I just want to be that same thing for him. Anthony means a life worth living and a constant reminder of why I work as hard as I do every day. Once Anthony was born, I realized that I needed to get a higher education and I was going to have to make money. Hey. The whole world, the whole universe, I mean, it's all about Anthony. And he knows that, and I want him to know that. I want him to always know that he's the most important thing in my life and that everything I do completely revolves around him. When I feel overwhelmed, I breathe. And I remind myself when it's all said and done that it's all going to be worth it.
What an inspiring story. That's Leslie Salazar reporting. Workers at 14 Pennsylvania universities have voted to authorize a strike, but their union is still negotiating. Both sides are meeting today. Faculty members have been working without a contract since last year. The schools involved include Lock Haven, Mansfield, Indiana, Clarion, and more. Penn State is not one of them.
A happy Friday to everybody out there. It's Hunter Williams in the weather studio with an update on your forecast. The live view out over Beaver Stadium. You can see, well, it's kind of a gray afternoon out there. We are locked in the clouds for this afternoon. Of course, the stadium off in the background tomorrow. The big game. We have Penn State taking on Temple. I'll have all the details on your game day forecast. That's coming up in just a bit. Temperatures out there right now, it's a little bit on the cool side, 64 right now in State College. Now, if you were out earlier during the morning hours, you probably thought, hey, it's a little bit on the chilly side out there. But elsewhere, it's 62 in Clearfield, 70 in Punxsutawney, 73 in Indiana. Now, a wider statewide perspective, you can see these yellows and the oranges over western Pennsylvania. A little bit more in the way of some sunshine in the mix further to our west. That has temperatures at 74 in Pittsburgh. The current temperature is also 74 in Philadelphia at the moment. Now, Now, I want to jump into Futurecast. We're going to walk through the next 24 hours. So here's 5 o'clock, and you'll notice still a good coverage of clouds out there, but no precipitation to speak of for this afternoon here in State College. We will stay dry through the rest of the day. Now, as we head towards 10 o'clock, of course, tonight, it's Friday. A lot of people have plans for this evening, and the good news is, again, we're dry through this evening. Just a pretty good coverage of clouds. Now, heading towards tomorrow, the game kicks off at noon, so a lot of folks getting up early, setting up tailgates, getting ready for the game, and unfortunately, as soon as about 8 o'clock, I do think we have the potential for some scattered showers out there. But the good news is that the best rain chances, those hold off until later on in the afternoon. So here's 1 o'clock into the game, and mostly dry across central Pennsylvania, but still the possibility of some scattered showers out there. But again, as we head towards the afternoon, that's when the better rain chances enter the area. By 5 o'clock, I think it is entirely possible that some heavy rain could be pushing into central Pennsylvania. And of course, as we head into the evening, still more scattered showers out there in the forecast. So your forecast for this afternoon, 73 for your high today, mostly cloudy, a south wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. And your forecast for this evening will drop down to 57, mostly cloudy, a south wind at 3 to 6 miles per hour. And your 7-day forecast from the Penn State Campus Weather Service, scattered showers and storms for both Saturday and Sunday. And then by Monday, I think the showers activity starts to push out of the area. We get a little bit more sunshine in the mix. By Tuesday, I think we're near 80 degrees. So just to reiterate, for the game tomorrow, probably a good idea to bring the rain gear along. So just so everybody knows.
Yeah, and I'll be at that game. So rain or shine, Penn Staters go to the games.
Yeah, I'll probably have my poncho packed, maybe an umbrella, but I hope they shift, like the little storm clouds shift and stay away, and I don't want them to rain on us.
Knock on wood.
We'll hope for the best.
And speaking of football games, here is Robert with sports.
The State College Little Lions are undefeated heading into their first home game tonight at Memorial Field. We'll look ahead to the game. And Penn State football looks to rebound against in-state rival Temple after a devastating loss to Pitt last weekend. A preview and the injury report are next in sports. I'm Robert Breck with sports. Penn State faces another test on the football field tomorrow as Temple comes to town. It's also a big day with the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of Joe Paterno's first game as head coach. On the field, the Nittany Lions desperately need a win after last week's Pitt game. Penn State fought back valiantly last week at Heinz Field versus the Pittsburgh Panthers, ultimately losing 42-39. They face another tough in-state battle versus Temple, who dominated the Nittany Lions in last season's opening game. Penn State performed well offensively versus Pitt, racking up over 400 yards of total offense, but gave up an astonishing 341 yards running on defense. Stopping the Temple ground attack, along with QB Philip Walker, who threw 3 touchdowns last week versus Stony Brook, will be key for the Nittany Lions. I stand here outside of Nittanyville, where Penn State students are already lining up for tomorrow's game. Penn State hopes that running back Saquon Barkley can build off of last week's 5-touchdown performance and that the defense can rebound to last season's form.
You know, obviously when we have 3 defensive linemen going on to the NFL, we knew it was going to take time to get those guys to grow and mature. So yeah, it changes things. There's no doubt about it.
James Franklin, who is 15-13 in his time as the Penn State head coach, needs to win this game to silence the hot seat talk. The game starts at 12 o'clock at Beaver Stadium. The Nittany Lions will be dealing with key defensive injuries heading into the game tomorrow. Linebackers Brandon Bell and Jason Kabinda are both facing injuries, and lineman Kevin Givens entered the concussion protocol after a hit that he suffered against Pitt. Mike Gilbert has more from Wednesday's practice, which was open to the media.
When it came to discussing his team's injuries, head coach James Franklin predictably tight-lipped after Wednesday night's practice. However, he did reveal that linebacker Jason Kabinda would be allowed by the NCAA to wear a club on his injured hand, a la Jason Pierre-Paul. So we'll see if he's ready to go Saturday against Temple. In State College for Center County Report, I'm Mike Gilbert.
State High football is looking to stay undefeated tonight as they host the Mifflin County Huskies. The Huskies are 0-2 on the season, and kickoff is at 7 p.m. on Memorial Field. The State College Spikes head into their offseason as New York Penn League champions for the second time in 3 years. Third baseman Danny Hudzina led the way with a 2-run home run, the only 2 runs scored in the series-clinching game Monday night at Medler Field, as Jordan DeLorenzo, Greg Tomczyk, and Brady Bowen combined for 1 run and 10 strikeouts on the night. It's a big soccer weekend for Penn State, and the men's team will take on the number 4 ranked University of Maryland at College Park on Sunday. The Lions are currently posting a 3-2-1 record, while their opponents are 4-0-2. The game is at 5 p.m. at Ludwig Field. To women's soccer now. The 16th-ranked Nittany Lions look to continue to defend their NCAA National Championship title this weekend as they begin Big Ten play. The team is off to a solid start this season with a record of 4 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. Penn State will be without the services of 5 of its top players as they pursue spots on the U.S. national team. They have a tough road test tonight as they travel to Minneapolis to battle the 10th-ranked University of Minnesota Gophers. Kickoff is at 8 p.m., and you can catch the game on the Big Ten Network. They finish off their road trip at Wisconsin on Sunday. That's all for sports. Now back to you at the anchor desk.
Thanks, Robert. Coming up on the Center County Report, learn how to wheel around the community with confidence. We'll tell you about one of Center County's newest hands-on classes. Does riding your bike on city streets make you nervous? Now, Center County is offering residents a bicycle street skills course to help boost their confidence.
I rode cross country in 2005, and when I came back, I had started working with Center Bike. One of the people in Center Bike was teaching these classes, so I took it after I got back from my cross country trip and said, wish I would have done that before I left.
Paul Rito teaches the class. It starts in the classroom where he teaches the basic rules of the road. Instructors then take you outside to practice what you learned through drills in a traffic-free environment. It's a bring your own bike event, and those who participate must also bring a helmet. The classes happen in the Center Region COG building and run through the end of September. There is a fee to attend.
That's all for today's Center County Report. For more, visit our website, centercountyreport.com.
You can also follow us for breaking news anytime on Twitter at Center County REP and our Facebook page. Join us for our next newscast on Tuesday. Have a good weekend. What are you doing this weekend?
I'm going to the game, and that's